Hey, Cookies here with another Bigwigs setup walkthrough. This dungeon is going to be, I believe we're on City of Threads next. So we did Ara-Kara, we did the Stone Vault, next we're going to do the City of Threads. This is another dungeon with the War Within. And we're just going to go straight to the first boss. And the goal here, as always, with my Bigwig setup guides is we usually try to find an ability to change into a red bar. That's like the most important ability. Usually something that deals a large amount of damage to the group, unavoidable damage, and then we have a yellow bar, which can be kind of like a secondary ability that maybe deals unavoidable damage or just an important ability that we want to be mindful of when it's going to happen, and then enabling a countdown for something so that we hear a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown before an ability happens. Just to help us automate a lot of the stuff happening in the fight. So for the first boss, Orator Krix'vizk, I really shouldn't be trying to pronounce these names, but Orator, we are going to see, I don't think he does too much unavoidable damage. A lot of it is dodging stuff and positioning and doing things like that. So he does Subjugate, that's like the tank hit, so we'll probably set a yellow bar for that because that's going to be the thing that will probably be like semi-dangerous for us to be aware of as a healer. So we will go ahead, we're going to steal the red color and then just add a bit of green to make it yellow. So we'll do yellow for Subjugate, and then we have Terrorize. This is the one that is a frontal cone. Don't think we need to worry too much about this. And then we have this right here. It says it inflicts all players with a debuff, inflicting damage for 4 seconds. And then after the debuff expires, it leaves a pool on the floor. And this is when we all need to move. So far, at least from what I've seen, it only affects the tank. Like, it only drops the pool on the tank or onto the boss. But maybe that's just a mistake on my end that I haven't been noticing. But we'll go ahead and change this to our red color. And I believe we're also going to make this our countdown ability just so that we know, because sometimes I don't know if it's going to work this way, but I like to test it out first to see, is if there's something that like gives you a debuff and then drops something on the ground or something happens after the debuff expires, if you set it to a countdown, then what's going to usually happen is it will count down when the debuff is going to be applied. So we'll hear a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the debuff is applied, and then 4 seconds is when the pool drops, so then it'll start counting down again. It'll go 4, 3, 2, 1, and then the pool drops on the ground. So I like to have it because then you know when the debuff is being applied, and then additionally you know, okay, at this exact moment is when the pool is going to drop. You don't have to sit there and kind of guess or pay attention to the debuff, like exact timer on the icon or anything. You just have something counting it down for you. So I think that's what we'll go ahead and do with that. And I think that's pretty much it for this boss. So we will go to Fangs of the Queen next. This one I don't know too much about so far because they do a lot of different stuff because there's 2 bosses, but we'll go ahead and see. So this is the 100 energy ability right here where they just dash around the room nonstop. Don't need to pay too much attention to that, I don't think, since it's pretty obvious through their energy. And then, let's see, dashes through their target. And this is I think this is the big frontal, maybe. And this is a big AoE ability. Icicles is the thing that it shoots at 2 players that get targeted, and then you dispel one and heal the other. So this will probably be our red bar, but we'll make sure. And then we have the other boss, which does just tank stuff. And then we have oh, see, I didn't even know about some of these mechanics. Yeah, so this boss just freezes people, and you just need to stand near each other, and then this boss makes you want to stand away from each other. So it's standing close together for these debuffs, and then spreading out for these debuffs. So yeah, none of this stuff down here, the frost stuff, is going to really matter to us. It's just going to be these things over here. So we're going to enable the red bar for, I think, the icicles, because that's going to be probably the most dangerous thing to be aware of as a healer. And then for our yellow bar, I think we'll go ahead and do this one right here, Duskbringer, because it does unavoidable damage to the entire group, and then it does, it basically kills people within a certain range. So we'll enable that as our yellow bar, since that will also be pretty important. And then these things might also switch. Like I might end up doing this dungeon on Mythic or Mythic Plus and then go, oh, Duskbringer is way more potent than Icicles. And then I switch the colors. Like, so it's all about testing it out for yourself. That's why I encourage people to set these things up yourself rather than just kind of like copy pasting it or, you know, just following my guide to a T, because this is just my preference. And that's what these add-ons are all about, are preferences to help you play better and not have to focus so much on, you know, all the individual mechanics and stuff like that. It lets you streamline a lot of it. And then for a countdown, we probably, honestly, for the countdown, there's not too much that's useful. Maybe the frontal ability. So I guess, I think we're just going to leave the countdown out for now. And then once I actually do the fights and I decide if I like, you know, where these are at and stuff with the colors, then I will add a countdown or just leave it out. So I think that's pretty much it with these bosses. Next we have the Coaglamation. This big blob that knocks people back and summons little blobs that you have to soak. This is the knockback. So this, I already know for sure, this knockback right here is definitely going to be our countdown. So we're going to enable that as the countdown. That way we know as soon as we're going to get knocked back. And then we have Oozing Smash. This is just a tank hit. Does a bunch of damage. So externals will be big here. This will probably end up being our yellow, but we'll see. And then we have Dark Pulse upon reaching 100 energy. Releases dark energy that inflicts 200,000 shadow damage every 1 second to all players. It doesn't say how long, so I'm assuming it's just a long time. Or it's gaining energy off of something else. Does it gain? Let's see. No, it doesn't look like it. So yeah, we'll make Dark Pulse the... Let's see, what is this last one? Let's just look at all the abilities first and then decide, because it looks like there's a few different things. Okay, this is just the pools that spawn on the floor. Okay, so this will be pretty easy. So for the knockback, we're going to do the countdown, and I'm going to make this the red bar, because I think that's going to be like the heaviest hitting ability in the fight. And then Dark Pulse seems like it's going to be kind of the secondary thing that we need to heal through, or the tank mechanic, depending on if this pulse even happens. So we'll set the pulse to the yellow bar for now, and then if it ends up not being like a threat, then we'll change the tank hit to yellow bar. That way we know when to, you know, external the tank and things like that. All right, and then we have the last boss, which is Izo. Let's see. Yeah, Shifting Anomalies. This is the spheres that go and knock you back and do a bunch of damage if you get hit. We have Splice, injecting experimental strands into all players, inflicting... Yep, this is the big one. So Splice, I already almost know for sure this is going to be our red bar, so we're just going to enable that to be our red bar for now. We can always change it later. But this is just a 6-second dot on everyone that does a heavy amount of damage. Tremor Slam, this is the one where she transforms into the big beetle and slams on the ground. All you have to do is just not be near her. And then this is the one where she roots everybody in place. So this is going to be our countdown, I think, because what you want to do with this mechanic is that it's the same idea of like the Tremor Slam makes you want to spread out and get away from the boss, and then the Umbral Weave makes you want to stack in close to the boss because you don't take any damage or anything like that. Or actually you do, you take initial damage, but I don't think there's like a circle around you or anything that hits other players. So you just get rooted. So the idea is you all stack in to melee. That way, as soon as all the webs spawn, you can just break each other out of them really quickly without being, you know, stranded out in the middle of nowhere. And then, let's see, recalls all anomalies to her location, then violently smashes them to her target one at a time. So I think the process of elimination, if I'm not mistaken, that's the little orbs on the floor moving around. So we have Splice as the red bar, and then we have Umbral Weave as a countdown. And then I think that's pretty much it. I think we just, we probably just enable Umbral Weave to also be a yellow bar. That way we can just keep an eye on it ahead of time as well. So we will go ahead and do that. Or maybe what we can do, since we have a countdown for this, is enable the process of elimination. That could be our yellow bar. But I'm not entirely sure if I want to do that. I think for now we're just going to do Umbral Weave, just because that way it's just 2 abilities that I'm focusing on. And then we'll kind of see how it plays out. Because this one also does unavoidable damage. So it's nice to know ahead of time, like, hey, the red bar and the yellow bar are both unavoidable damage that you have to heal through. And then we'll just take a quick look through trash. A lot of these dungeons, I don't know the trash very well yet, so a lot of this I leave blank until I do the dungeons more on a higher difficulty where the trash isn't just dying instantly in heroics. Let's see. Earth Shatter doesn't do anything, that's just a frontal. We're really just looking for stuff that is potentially unavoidable damage abilities. Like Venomous Spray is pretty nasty, but it is a kickable thing. So yeah, I think we'll just leave all this stuff blank and then we can always adjust it later. So yeah, I think that is it for City of Threads, and we got a few more dungeons to go. I think my plan is to release the 4 War Within dungeons that are coming in Season 1, and then do the raid over the weekend. So we'll do the raid setup guide for Bigwigs, and then once we're in next week with Mythic Zeros and all that stuff, then I'll start releasing, like, you know, Mist of Tyrna Scythe, Siege of Borealis, Necrotic Wake, like those older dungeons that are returning from previous expansions. So immediately the goal is War Within dungeons, War Within raid, then go back and do, you know, the other returning dungeons and stuff like that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.